Okay, sports fans, today on Sports for All, we have Mark Milne, founder of 3030 Tennis, and Michael Reynolds, brand ambassador of 3030 Tennis, and also the martial art way of tennis. So thank you, gentlemen, for coming on the show.
Hi, Vince. Thank you.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Mark, what were the reasons and rationale behind 3030 Tennis?
Okay, yeah, 3030 Tennis. Just for the people who don't know what it is, it's an alternative shorter format of tennis where matches are a lot shorter. Tennis matches are lasting a long time these days, and many sports are looking at trying to produce short formats. For example, cricket has the test match cricket that lasts 5 days, but it's also got 2020 cricket, which lasts 3 hours. The rugby has the rugby union, but also has rugby sevens and so on. So many sports are looking at alternative short formats. And yes, 3030 Tennis is a short format. How it came about was about 4 or 5 years ago, I moved indoors to start playing touch tennis. And you usually book a court for 1 hour. And we'd started by using the traditional scoring method. And we were often finding that after the hour, we were not getting our matches completed, which was a bit unsatisfactory. Any sport, you always want to be a winner and a loser at the end of the session. So in order to try and fit a best of 3 sets match into the 1 hour, I'd remembered when I was a junior player that the coaches had encouraged us to play a lot of games starting at 30 all. This gave us the experience of playing a lot of the big points around about deuce and so on. So we started experimenting, starting every game at 30 all. And yeah, within a few weeks of dabbling and just doing a few small things, we came up with the format 30-30, where yes, you can complete a best of 3 sets match in 1 hour. The only other things that are tweaked a bit are that the change of ends has been doubled up. When you start every game at 30 all, the games go past quite quickly. So if you're changing ends after every 1 game and then every 2 games, you're changing ends too frequently, too quickly. So we doubled that up. So what you now do is you play 2 games, then you change ends, you then play 4 games, and you change ends and so on after every 4 games. This in effect halves the number of change of ends during a set, again shortening the length of a set of tennis. The other small tweak is that if you're playing a tie-break set at 6 games all, instead of playing the 7-point match tiebreak, we use the short set tiebreak, which is a first to 5 points. It's basically a best of 9 points. If you get to 4 all, there is a sudden death point played to decide. So yeah, basically, yeah, 30-30. The clue is in the name. It's really named after 2020 cricket. When you write down 30 all as 30-30, anyone who's reading that reads it as 30-30. Hence, that's why it's called 30-30. The clue is in the name. And when you start every game now, instead of shouting or announcing 30 all, you announce the score 30-30. That differentiates it from traditional tennis. So yeah, in a nutshell, that's what 30-30 tennis is. It's a short format of tennis.
All right, let's go to Michael.
Yep.
All right, you're the brand ambassador of 3030 Tennis. And my question for you is, how has the reception been so far? For example, in the South African tennis community, how has the reception been so far? And people you've spoken to in the rest of the world and perhaps in the neighboring countries near South Africa?
Okay, to start off with, I'm also Mark's business partner. So I do the business and Mark does all the technology and the work with 3030.
Okay.
Yeah, it might be better. Well, I'm not sure if it'd be better for me to answer that, Michael, because I was the one who was involved in inviting numerous people to try and to send me feedback. Okay. Is that fair? Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah, just to explain, Vince,
Okay.
when this idea came out, I wanted people to try it. So obviously social media is the best way to contact people, and via LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and so on, I contacted numerous people telling them about the idea and asking them to play it and then to send me feedback. And for the first 2 years, I collected in the region of 300 testimonials from people all over the world who have tried it and said, yeah, this is a great idea, we really like it, and so on. After I'd got to 300, I decided, well, what's the point of having a massive list? I've now got enough confidence here from other people. You know, it's not just myself and my hitting partner that are using this format. I've now had a lot of people try it and say, yeah, this is really good, it really works. It will only ever be an alternative. It won't replace the existing traditional tennis. That has to remain. It will be a bit like the cricket having the 2020. Tennis will have the Grand Slams and so on, but alongside it will have 30-30 tennis as an alternative option for the players, for anyone to use. It suits modern society who are time starved. The young people are looking for faster formats, shorter matches. And yeah, if you could play a set in 20 minutes, a best of 3 sets in an hour, or a best of 5 sets in an hour and a half, it's much faster moving. You mentioned shorter rallies. That is not the case. It's really just shorter matches. The tennis will still feel, look and sound like traditional tennis. The rallies will be the same, but the main thing is that every point counts. So there is no room to lose focus at all. Every second point is actually a game point. So it moves on very, very quickly. So yeah, the feedback has been excellent from all over the world, basically, yeah.
All right. Okay. I want to ask Michael, on the business side of 30-30 tennis, what challenges have you encountered as far as the business side of 30-30 tennis?
I haven't found any at the moment. There's no, we haven't got a challenge because we've got a unique product, and we're marketing it in a unique way. So we haven't had any problems at the moment.
And on the yes, sorry, please go ahead.
Yeah, so you know, I can only say it's a work in progress, and you know, whatever issues come up, we'll deal with them when they come up.
No, on the marketing side, Michael, the 30-30 tennis product, is this for would you say this is for 30-30 tennis is for everyone since it's shorter matches, or does it cater a specific age group?
No, everybody can play it. One of the things that is very good about 30-30 is that if you become a good player at 30-30, you become an even better player in the long game, because you'll make the matches in the long game, you'll make them shorter. And it is I think it's a great system for the juniors, because juniors learn how to overcome all the issues of pressure points. You need a different mindset to play 30-30, but that mindset must be transferred to the long game. So you can put it this way. We believe that tennis is a lovely game. I mean, the general public believe it. And yes, it's wonderful to watch people playing for 6 hours or 5 hours or whatever. But that's not what really the sport is all about. at the professional level. The professional level, I want to get on the court, I want to beat the opponent in the fastest possible time, because the longer I'm on it, the more chance I've got of losing. So if you look at it, the two of them complement each other. And I've been using very similar forms of scoring formats since I started training. And when I was young, we had a similar format, but it was 30-minute matches. And you had to do, you had 30 minutes, every game counted, and that's how we did it. So from that point of view, yes, it can only benefit the children. And from, let's say, another strong marketing point is that our model will cater for up to maybe 350 tour players from men and women. And we have at least four different options of competition. So you can cater for everybody. And the older generation can't run around the court. They don't get they don't have the stamina, the energy to do it anymore. So this is a much better format for them. Yes, we can maybe difficult.
We could maybe see Federer and Murray playing each other when they're 50 years old, with the matches being shorter.
The Masters, perhaps.
Yeah, exactly. The physical requirements are not nearly as bad as for a short match. So yeah, the players can extend their careers. They can get involved in playing doubles, mixed doubles, and so on. So yeah, it opens up so many doors. Because one thing that I could add is that this format is nothing new. The number of people that I've contacted who've told me, oh yeah, we've been starting games from 30 all for many years. Hundreds and hundreds of people have told me that, and I know that all I've done is I've taken it, I've tweaked it a bit and formalized it as a competitive format and branded it. It's important that any short format has a brand, because the other shorter formats out there at the moment, Tennis Australia have something called Fast 4, where sets are played to 4 games and they don't play the ad. They use the no ad rule. So matches are won, for example, 4-1, 4-2. That's one short format that has been called Fast 4. There is also tie-break 10s that have been having a few events. Their matches are a single match point, tie-break to 10 points. And just latterly, we've also seen Patrick Mouratoglou, Serena Williams' ex-coach. He has introduced timed tennis, where it's called Ultimate Tennis Showdown. And they play 4 quarters of 8 minutes using tie-break like scoring. They've tried single serves. They have playing cards. These 3 other formats all differ quite significantly from traditional tennis. We feel that the 30-30 format maintains the DNA of traditional tennis better. But yes, there are other shorter formats being tried. We are not the only people who are looking at trying to shorten tennis matches. The ITF are involved with Fast 4, Tennis Australia with Fast 4, and so on. So this is an alternative short method to these other formats, but we do feel it has an advantage, and everything about it feels like traditional tennis. So yeah.
I have back to Michael.
Yeah.
What is the number one advantage of 30-30 tennis over Fast 4?
Again,
it's a tennis question, Michael. Do you want me or?
No, well, you really cannot. You really can't have a definitive answer. I think Marcus put it very succinctly. If you want to stay with the traditional structure of tennis, then 30-30 does that. 3030 is also, if you think the game, the American NCAA, they play the normal game to juice. There are no ads, so they cut off all the time frame from the ads. You can create anything you want. I mean, fast forward, if you want to play 4 games, that's fine. But when we look at the marketplace, or when you look at the tennis structure, the future of the game is with juniors and adults up to a certain age who are still playing competition, and the tour players, and they want to try to keep within the framework of tennis, because then they feel that they're really playing the game. They're not having, it's not some sort of like, you know, or just an exhibition or something like that. I mean, you could easily turn around and say, we'll play the best of 5 or the best of 3 tiebreakers. I mean, it depends how exciting you want. If you want Federer and Nadal to play a tiebreaker and there's $5 million for the winner, it's going to be very exciting. But I mean, that's not tennis. That's another competition. You can do with tennis. You can do whatever. Mark just brought this format up, which is absolutely so close to the real game. It ticks all the boxes that a player would want for a short game, and say, I'm playing tennis.
Yeah, the main advantage over Fast 4 is that the sets are still to 6 games, there's tie breaks at 6 all, the add points in played. That's all sorely lacking in game sets to 4 games. Fast 4 has been tried at the ATP Next Gen event for about the last 4 or 5 years, and it's never really progressed to the main circuit at all. The general feedback I get from people that I'm speaking to, they're not overly happy with it. You know, winning a set 4 games to 1, it's one service break, it's gone sort of style, and it just doesn't stand right with me that you can win a set by 4 games to 1, for example. Also, the no ad points, the best games that are often played when you're watching the television or that, or you're playing yourself, are the games that have multiple juices. To get to juice and then have a single point to decide it is a real anti-climax to a good game. It's been a hard-fought game to juice, and then it just dies. The ATP doubles have been doing this for many years, and it's not helped at all, basically. The beauty is that with 30-30, you will still play the juice and the add points. We do have what's called 30-30 plus, that if we do find matches maybe go on too long, we could say maybe after 3 juices, we'll play a golden point, a no ad point, basically. But that is an option, 30-30 plus, when you limit the number of juices. So yeah, that's its advantage over Fast 4, to be honest. And the under 21 top men players in the world have not really taken it too well. They've played best of 5 sets matches, and they're just not feeling it goes well. So we're confident that this format, as Michael, myself have kept saying, it retains the main traditions of sets to 6 games and so on.
All right, Michael, you mentioned about one of the target markets of 3030 are kids, young adults. Have you started pushing your the product to schools, perhaps schools, colleges, and universities, where they can incorporate this into their physical education curriculum?
To be honest with you, no, because we haven't reached that point.
Okay.
That's not to say that we're not going, we won't do it, but the model that we've got, first we have to get it out into the public into the public domain in the different areas that we feel it will move the quickest. But we definitely are going, our competitions are going to be for juniors as well, and there will be money in it. So the junior that starts playing 30-30 tennis or 30-30 competition, he's going to have the experience, albeit at 11 or 12 years of age, as a professional. So we're using it. We want to use this platform to create better or alternative pathways for young children and the lower ranked players to have a better opportunity, I suppose, to fulfill their potential.
All right.
That's basically the system. I mean, that's the model, and we want to focus on Asia.
Okay, back to Mark. Do you have numbers or statistics comparing a 30-30 match to a regular tennis match? By how many percent is the reduction in court time or match time?
Yeah, I don't have any statistics, to be honest. Okay. It's just been from feedback and personal use, basically. What I've already said, that a set will take on average 20 minutes. You could potentially have a set over in 10 minutes if it's very, very one-sided. You could have one that maybe takes about 30 minutes. But on average, one set of tennis will take 20 minutes, and a best of 3 sets match will take about an hour. Now, we know at the top level of the game, a best of 3 sets match can take 2, 3, sometimes longer. Best of 5 sets matches are taking 3, 4, 5 hours. So there is at least a factor of 2. I reckon it's going to be at least twice as quick, really, by knocking out the first 4 points of a game, basically. So that's my estimate. Obviously, as it gets out there more and more, the statistics will be really very, very interesting to interrogate how long matches last, how many games have multiple juices, because the main selling point of this is it's a short format. I don't want to find out that once people start using it, you get a load of games in a set that have multiple juices, and a set still takes 45 minutes. I want it to be 20 minutes on average, basically. So that's where the 30-30 plus will come in. There might be a wee bit of tweaking, but that's what we're aiming for, an average of 20 minutes a set, which is significantly less and faster moving than traditional tennis. Traditional tennis is a very slow burner. You know, you have to get to juice before the game gets exciting. You have to get close to 6 games. This all happens so much more quickly when you start every game at 30 all. So yeah, I don't have statistics at the moment, but we will, as soon as this gets out there, we will be gathering it to learn as much as we can so that we can tweak things to continue improving things with it.
Okay, back to Michael. Again, from a marketing lens, from a marketing perspective, let's say, for example, I'm a sponsor, a potential sponsor, and then what do you tell sponsors or people who want to support 30-30? What do you tell them when they say, well, my brand won't get a lot of exposure because the matches are too short, or my product or my brand won't get a lot of exposure, whereas in the traditional tennis matches, I get more mileage, I get more exposure. What do you say to them?
Well, first of all, the formats, the competition structures that we have are primarily not knockouts to start with. So we have mixed gender leagues it's very much based on T20 cricket. So you will not have we will have knockout tournaments. Yes, that's knockout competition, and we will have singles, doubles, and mixed doubles. And in the league competition, in the mixed gender, they can all be in leagues, but the mixed gender is a league game. So you may, for example, you may say that I'm going to have less time per match, but I'm not going to have less exposure. I'm actually going to get more exposure because I'm going to have more matches, more games, and I'm going to have, I'm going to have real competition. And remember, we are going to take this onto virtual reality as well. So sponsors will have an option as to how they want to come into the competitions. Because if we do it with the same way as IPL, then it's up to each individual sponsor to decide at what level and where they are going to spend their money and come in on it.
Yeah, you said a very important thing. Oh, sorry, Michael.
Yeah. Go.
Yeah, you said a very important thing there, that shorter matches equals more matches. So, for example, a fan going along to a stadium, at the moment, they're lucky to maybe see 2 matches, best of 5 sets at Wimbledon or whatever. With the shorter format, they're going to have the opportunity to see potentially 5 matches in a session. So they're getting the opportunity to see more players. They'll see varied play because you will also be able to hold more events that have mixed gender at it. At the moment, it's really only got the Grand Slams and a few Masters of Thousands that you could have men and women competing at the same event because of court time. With the shorter matches, you'll be able to fit in events that contain both men and women. So to answer that, there'll be more exposure because it's not the overall time that will change. It's the shorter matches means more matches, more players to see, more variety. Basically, it'll be a far more exciting experience for a fan to turn up and potentially see 10 players in a session instead of seeing 4 players in a session. The shorter matches just open up so many different avenues to improve things. Sorry, Michael.
No, that's correct. That you see, if you have a knockout, if you keep having knockout tournaments, you've got to ask yourself the question, does that benefit the player? No, it doesn't. So the more we can offer, and if you're a spectator, let's say, for example, we have, let's say, a competition which is team-based. And if you've got, say, the top echelon of the professionals in each team, you're not going to be able to suddenly turn around and say, well, I'm going to get Federer and Nadal.
I think Vince is Vince gone. Oh, sorry.
No,
Vince, he's back again.
Yeah. So you're going to do it just like the cricket. You're not going to be able to have one team that is so one-sided that it will win everything. So the person the spectator can go, if the competition is over, say, 5 nights, you will see the top players play every night, especially if you're watching on television. You'll watch it, and they'll be at different venues. So we can have a competition, for example, which is based in Singapore, but we will have matches all around Southeast Asia. Each city will be a base for a team. And then the city, we've structured it, for example, that each country, each city can have its own team. Each club can have its own team, and there will be leagues. It will be much more of a league structure than a knockout structure. If we want to find out who's the best 30-30 player in the world, well, then we have to have a knockout. Or you can create whatever structure you want, and plus the fact that we want the players to have a say in this whole project. So we want to give them a voice, and if they say, for example, that we would prefer it to be leagues, or we would prefer this way or that way, we want to take that into account. But there is no question that the best sports model in the world is IPL cricket. And look what it's done. It sits right next to test match cricket, one-day cricket, and all the other events around T20, like the 100 that they've got in England. So we can choose any kind of format. That's the beauty of 30-30. It's not tied to one structural form. Every time you have an event, you can change it. And we want to bring the corporates in. We want to have a world corporate league where the corporates will have either their own people, or they can choose players. It depends how we do it. And the corporations will play. So therefore, when we go to the corporations and say, will you support junior tennis or junior 30-30, they're not going to say no, because they're playing. So it satisfies a whole host of different things that the traditional game doesn't do. Or let's say the traditional structure of the game doesn't do. And that's what we need. We need people to play this game, not watch it only. They must play. That's the whole idea behind it.
Yeah, playing actual sets of tennis. Yeah, we don't see enough kids playing actual sets of tennis nowadays, really. But the shorter format means they could turn up for a couple of hours and play 3 or 4 different opponents within the 2 hours. Basically, it's all about playing. Playing is how you learn to play tennis, rather than just turning up for coaching and hitting balls twice a week. You need to go along to your club and actually play sets of tennis. And this shorter format allows the kids, the youngsters, to do that more often.
You see, you don't want, for example, you've got to, let's say we take a junior tennis event. You've got kids that will arrive, and the tournament's over a week, and the first round that loses, the kids that lose in the first round, they don't play for a week. That's ridiculous. I went through that as a youngster when I first started. So you've got to have something where a child can start to play and realize what is required of him if he plays singles or if he plays in a team. So it's responsibility. Now, if we do it on a round-robin league basis, in a week, he's going to play 5 matches, for example, or 8 matches, depending on how far they go, which is a much better format and a much cheaper format for kids to play. And that is where it's to, how should we say, to try to lift up this base of children, juniors, and give them a real opportunity, not just, you know, as Mark said, you just come and you play one match and you go home. That doesn't help it.
Yeah, I see shorter duration events, you know, over a Saturday and a
Absolutely.
Sunday, or only a Saturday or a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The days of maybe week-long events are a bit in the past for kids.
Yeah.
It has to be a shorter time frame, and yeah, play as many matches as possible.
All right. I wanna put the two of you gentlemen on the spot a bit, okay? If you know, if you're hesitant to answer the question, that's fine. I want to start with you, Mark. Which other sport aside from tennis do you think needs to have shorter games or matches, or that needs to evolve?
Okay, my experience of other sports is limited, but I've played tennis, badminton, squash, table tennis throughout my years, and they have all evolved. The scoring format that is used in badminton, that is used in squash, that is used in table tennis, have all evolved to produce shorter, bite-sized, more dynamic bits of action. Tennis is obviously trying it now as well. So really, that's my main experience. They have already changed. The old days when they played squash matches that went on for hours and you could only win a point when you were serving and so on, that's all gone basically. The other sports that we're obviously promoting 30-30 for is paddle, that I mentioned earlier. It could potentially, rather than have matches that are lasting over 2 hours, it could shorten it up and produce faster paced matches. Pickleball is another format. It currently plays games to 11 points. Now, that's really old school now. That's the way it used to happen, sort of stuff. There is no reason why pickleball cannot adopt the 30-30 format as well. A lot of former ex-tennis players are starting to play both pickleball and paddle. It would make their transition a lot more seamless. The scoring format of 30-30 could unite these three sports. Who knows in the future, could it possibly unite squash, table tennis, badminton? You know, what's wrong with someone playing a game of badminton that uses the 30-30 scoring format and you win a match 6-3, 6-4? There is no reason why all these sports can't unite by using 30-30. I actually came up with just a bit last week that if all these sports were evolving and it was the day one of all of these racket sports, and they were sitting around a table and they had to come up with a common scoring format that they would all use. What format would they select for this, you know, this world that we are in at the moment, this fast-paced world? And I truly believe that the 30-30 format ticks a lot of the boxes, really. So there is no reason why we can't create 30-30 as a unifying short scoring method for all these racket sports that I've mentioned. As for other sports, there's many tried it. Basketball, 3x3, netball, fast 5. The golf obviously is getting into it. They have golf 6s. They have the Live Tour where they're playing 54 holes instead of 72. There's hardly a sport out there that is not trying an alternative short option. The sports have to evolve. You cannot afford to stand still or you will die, not just in sport, in business. If you do not evolve and create and try things, you will die, you will disappear. So every sport is trying it.
Yeah, I can tell you just from my experience that swimming, international swimming, they hit a wall. The swimmers were very unhappy about the whole setup. And then the Americans came up with the short form of swimming, which is a one night, the ISL, the International Swimming League, which is based on 2020 cricket. You have teams, you you have franchise teams, you buy your players, you buy your swimmers, you have a complete almost like an international event in 2 nights, and then they go to in one city, and then they go to the next city. That's what the future is. The long games are going to be over.
Yeah,
and even I will predict that if we get 30-30 off the ground the way we want it, even the Grand Slams will have to adopt 30-30. It will change. It'll become a transformation where the players will decide what they want to play and how they want to play it. And if it comes to it, players will go to tournaments and say, please change the format.
Okay.
That's what that's what I see. I can play my part in doing it.
All right.
Because 30-30 also requires certain skills that are not in the game at the moment, which make it even more exciting. And with those skills, and you put those skills into the long game, now, well, then that's a whole different, that will create a whole different mindset as to how the structure of the matches should be played.
All right. Back to you, Mark. With the shorter matches, a shorter court time, do you think, and Michael, feel free to chime in, do you think the quality of play will be compromised because of the shorter matches?
There's no reason why it can't be. I sometimes think that the quality on average will be higher because, as I've said before, every point counts. There will be no longer having points like 40 love, where quite often the receiver just gives up. He knows he's got little chance of winning that game. There's quite a lot of meaningless points played when you use the traditional scoring. With 30-30, as I keep saying, every point counts. There is no time for you to lose 100% focus. So my belief is that the overall standard will be higher and it'll be more exciting. I've had kids coming to me saying, it's great, there's a lot of juice games, juice ad games. They're the exciting points. So I do feel, I don't know yet because I haven't had any professional players playing it and so on, but I do feel that the overall quality has to be higher because there is no room to shut off. There are no meaningless points, really. And the game score ticks over so much more quickly. It's much more dynamic, which is, you were saying earlier, Djokovic has said the game has to change in the future. It has to become more dynamic. It's a real slow burner just now, tennis. My kids are all late 20s, early 30s, and they've never sat down and watched a full tennis match. It's too slow going, it's too slow moving. They're not interested in something that takes hours. The top players are seeing it. The things have to move quicker. So the overall quality I do think will be higher, but the proof will be in the time will tell, basically. But it'll be very interesting to see how the top players cope with it. How are they going to handle it? There are no points like 40 love and so on, or the love all points. They're not as important as the points that are played around about 30 all and juice and so on.
Vince, I think we're going to touches on a very important issue. People have never seen what or let's put it this way, what you see in the traditional game of tennis is a set of skills that have been passed down from one generation to the next. So everybody plays the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in 3030, especially if you're playing for a lot of money or your big prizes or whatever, you need a different set of skills. And those skills can be brought into 3030 and they will go into the main, into the main game. And that's why the standard of play will dramatically rise. That I can promise you, if I've got anything to do with it. Because you haven't seen, the public has never seen the full potential of what this game is all about. It's only seen what the coaches are able to offer their students, put it that way. And when I play 3030, I've got a completely different mindset and I've got to have a completely different set of skills. Otherwise, I'm gone. The match is over before you can.
Yeah. The other big point is that a lot of 3030 will be team-based. We've mentioned mixed gender teams. Now, when you're playing for a team, your mindset is entirely different. Like when you're playing for your country or the Ryder Cup, the Laver Cup, they're playing as part of a team. So that will change the mindset as well, because you will not want to let down your team members. So we think that 3030 will be rolled out in a mixed gender team format, that a team consists of 2 girls and 2 boys. There will be 5 sets played, a single set each of girls doubles, girls doubles, boys doubles, then a set of girls singles, boys singles, and a final mixed doubles match. They're all just one set, or they could be introduced to be best of 3 sets, but we want it to be over in a couple of hours. So one set of each of these, and there's a unique scoring pattern that we're using in that both the doubles matches are worth 1 point each. Both the singles matches are worth 2 points each, and the final match, which is the mixed doubles match, is worth 3 points each. That gives you a total of 9 points. So you have to get 5 points before you could win the match. The way the scoring works is that it will be at least the 4th or 5th set before you will have a winner decided. And yeah, with the 3 points at the end for the last match, it means that most matches will actually go to the 5th and deciding set to decide the match. The winning team will gain 3 bonus points. So yeah, a team format, I think, will again raise the bar.
Yeah, it makes it a completely different. It is tennis or paddle or whatever you want to call it, and you're doing the same thing, but you're just doing it in a in a different format, in a different structure, which that I would say is the most important change that that you're going to see. We have to cater for young people and who haven't got the attention span. And on the other hand, also, we need to get more people into competition and more varied competition. So that's the big thing. I think that, in all fairness, I think we should say that we would like to see the 3030 format become a major factor in transforming the game into a, I don't know, into a better structure, and to how to put it, I don't know, I suppose you'd say to cater for all the different age groups, going from juniors right to the top. We lose a lot of senior players because the games are too long. They get frustrated because they can't move around like they did before. So I think that's it. This is what we would like to see.
Okay. I know, Mark, Michael, both of you are very busy. So I'm down to my last question before we wrap things up for both Mark and Michael. I want to get your thoughts on 30-30 tennis coexisting or even complementing the long-established sport of tennis. Um, will they be able to coexist, or even 30-30 tennis complementing the regular tennis the same way that 3x3 basketball is complementing the regular game of basketball?
Yeah, there is certainly there is no reason why they can't coexist. Other sports have proven that, and yeah, take the cricket example at the moment. 2020 is actually propping up Test match cricket. Basically, it's making more money and it's keeping Test match cricket going. So there is no reason I can see why they can't coexist. To be honest, cricket has proved it.
Yeah, I agree. There's no. I think one of the big things that we have to take into account, and that is that when an individual comes to a sport, it is far better for that individual to have a wider set of options that he or she can take to play or perform in. And the more options that you have, people will go where they feel, where they feel happy and where they're comfortable. And there's no reason why, as Mark said, everything can't go along side by side. We can't have the hegemony anymore. That's what it's about. We have to offer, and this is happening. We have to offer alternatives, but those alternatives are completely up to the individual. If you want to play 30-30, you'll play 30-30. If 30-30 doesn't resonate with you, you'll play fast 4, or you'll go wherever you want to go.
Yeah.
I think it offers this alternative. If a child has, for example, feels, oh yes, I want to play in a team. Tennis doesn't have a team format. So if a kid says, oh yes, I'd like to play for a team, I want to be part of a team, I want to feel the togetherness, they'll go there. The ones that don't like that format, they will look for the individual. I think that's where it will go.
Because one advantage that I haven't spoken about, Vince, is that obviously at the top level, tennis has become very, very physically demanding, and we're seeing a lot of the top players really struggling with lots of injuries and so on. It has developed over the years to become such a physically demanding game that, yeah, playing the shorter format will not be as physically demanding on the training required, on the length of matches that they have to play in a fortnight or in a week, and so on. So yeah, it will reduce the physical demands. They are beginning, we've seen Andy Murray struggling for a number of years with his hip and so on, and numerous players are pulling out with injuries. It's because it's become such a physically demanding sport. It can't continue, to be honest.
I'm sorry, Mark and Michael. One last question. Mark, you mentioned something about shorter matches, shorter court time means more pressure on the players to do well, more pressure on them to train harder. And I want to ask you both, shorter matches, especially matches that are crucial, or elimination matches, will this, we've seen a handful of tennis players, from regular tennis, from the established tennis, take sabbaticals, rest because of mental health issues. Now, 30-30 tennis, shorter matches, especially pressure-packed matches, are there concerns that this may take more of a toll on their mental health?
Okay.
I'll let you go, Michael. It's a fair question.
Okay. It's a fair question, but okay. The issue in tennis isn't the length of the game. It isn't got anything to do with mental health. The issues of the game are what you teach and how you teach it. So a player who's going to play 30-30 is going to learn the mental skill. What people don't understand is tennis appears to be physical.
Yeah, yes.
Most sport appears to be physical, but it isn't. It is the mind's expression of what the body has to do. And if you train properly, you should not have the injuries and you should not have mental health issues at all. In fact, if I've got anything to do with it, 30-30 will be better for your health,
okay,
better for your mental health, and will provide skills that you take off the court and you can use in everyday life. That's the issue. The issue is how you train, what you do, how you do it. And this is what has, I think, in all my years of experience, and I've worked with some of the best teachers and players the world has ever seen. And the game we now have to open this up as well, this training. So no, it's going to help. You're going to be mentally much more proficient, stronger, tougher. You're going to have skills where you know how to look after your body, which is not taught today. And you have too much pressure.
Yes.
So the kids have to learn you learn how to play under pressure. It's a skill. You have to develop the skills. I'll give you a great example of something I said to Mark, being that you're from the Philippines. There's this wonderful video of this eskrima master giving an interview for about 20 minutes, and he's got a pupil in front of him and they're training, and the student was a pretty highly ranked guy. And the eskrima master was looking around, talking and doing whatever, and they were training, and he never missed a beat. Now, if you ask a normal person, an ordinary person to do this, they look at it and they say, no, it's impossible. But you have to arrive at that point. And the only person, the only two guys that have arrived at that point in the traditional game probably is Nadal, and I would say Federer and Djokovic in their own way, yes. They have mastered this way of playing. But if you put Djokovic and Nadal against each other in 30-30, it's a different game. And on top of it, you will be able to have men playing women. And the whole advantage that a man has in this power is all taken away. So a woman will be able to play a man on equal footing, because up here in the mind, how do you play? And we should be able to have that ordinarily. There have been women, I mean, Serena could quite have easily probably been in the top, easily the top 20 men, because she's got the game for it. You just have to train. You have to know how to do things. And in 30-30, you will have to learn. If you want to win, you're going to have to adapt. And that's what the beauty is. We can raise the level of the game. But I can assure you, you've seen nothing. You haven't seen it. There's a
good answer, Michael.
There's a lot to do. I'll leave you with this thought. Imagine the impact of a young player, let's say from Asia, who nobody's seen, comes out on the court, is completely ambidextrous in all forms of the game, and can switch hands in between a shot, in between shots, can change hands in between shots, can turn 180 degrees to volley, can return a serve at 200 k's an hour, 3 steps behind the serve line. And that is men, boys, girls, men, and women. So that's what we haven't been taught. So we keep in 30-30, the new generation of players that can come up, that can be trained to do, the ones that have the ability will be trained to use these skills. Now, if you imagine a young Filipino child, a young Filipino player who could do this and suddenly went out at the US Open and wiped out the entire draw, I think tennis in the Philippines would suddenly, I think everybody would want to play. Yes. It's like watching Nick Kyrgios. He's the future of he's part of the future of the game, the future kind of player. He would be, and Mark and I have spoken about it, he would be the ideal player for 30-30. He's fearless, and he just plays. He plays from inside. He plays up here. And that, I think, is something that 30-30 will have to focus, people will have to focus on. My physical skill and my mental skill. How tough am I here? And it's going to be it will be very exciting. And that's where the martial arts in tennis comes in. And that's why the two can live side by side. That's what I saw when Mark first, we contacted each other, and I saw the value of 30-30. And I immediately said to myself that this is a platform to change, to bring about these transformations, because they are necessary. You don't have to go and say, well, okay, I want to make change for the sake of the change. But we need it. We need to do it. I got two hands. Why do I only play with one? It's ridiculous. I went through it. I trained. I did it. My daughter started me looking. That's where I first began to realize it, because she held the racket differently, and I wasn't sure whether it was a two-handed backhand or a two-handed forehand, but she could do both. Some children are just gifted. I am. I can do with both if I have to. If I go and play paddle, I'll practice paddle with you. You practice it. It's a paddle is very short. Paddle is going to be even more dynamic than tennis because it's close quarter, and the ball comes off the wall. You can't kill the shot as easily as you can in tennis, and that's why even we've noticed in swimming the enormity of the gap in the times that are being swum now, because of the different formats of swimming that the different formats in the competition, and it will happen. It has to happen. That you won't be able to stop it. There's a saying. There's an old saying that goes, "It's a poor man who allows others to dictate to him what and how he should learn, and an even poorer one who will bow to it." So we have to encourage the children, the players, to go out there and ask the question, what do I need from the coach? What do I need to play this game more successfully? Not what can you just teach me. I want to know what you can give me. What skills can you teach me? I don't want the skills that everybody else has got. To be like them, I need to beat them. And that's the whole mindset. It's I was very fortunate. I attended 2 training sessions of Bruce Lee, and that changed my whole thinking forever. I mean, the guy was amazing. So you can see that I've done it. Children are easy to teach, and they are very adaptable. And I think in 3030, when they see that it's short, but they enjoy the skill, they enjoy going head to head, but not for 6 hours or 5 hours or whatever, but you naturally, I mean, in all the arts, that's how the kids learn, but they don't learn it in tennis. They learn to hit the ball up and down the court. Thank you very much.
All right, Mark?
I think Michael's answered that question really, and I don't see a problem really.
No.
It's the fact it's physically less demanding, and the more you use it, the more you'll get used to it, basically. And but yeah, the proof will be in once it gets played. But in other sports, it doesn't seem to cause any untold extra pressure if something's shorter. It's still a fair test of skill. One set can be pretty quick, but best of 3, or if they want to go to best of 5, it still provides a very good test of skill where the better player will still win 9 times out of 10. I think there won't be in one set there might be a small bit of luck involved if something happens, like a net cord or something, but over a best of 3, best of 5, the better player will still win the majority of the time. It's still a fair test basically, and that's my feelings on it. How, if you were playing for £1 million and it was a shootout over a short set tiebreak, yeah, that's going to be different. We've already seen that a bit in the Hopman Cup when Federer was on. It was the final of the Hopman Cup a few years ago,
right.
and the final mixed doubles match went to a 9-point tiebreak, and the last point at 4-all was incredible. But all four players on the court were scared stiff. It was difficult just to hit the ball over the net into the court, and it'll be interesting to see what happens. Yeah, if you are playing a lot more of these type of points, how players will handle it. They just were not used to that situation. The whole cup, it was the final of the cup. It was all hinging on one point.
Brilliant.
And to see how the players reacted was really fascinating. They hadn't learned for that situation. You can't teach that situation. 30 could potentially produce a lot more situations like that. So
absolutely,
it's a learning process that you'll get used to it. It won't be the first time it's happened in your career like it did for Federer that day. It was incredible. So yeah, I just want people to try it, see how it goes. To be honest, yeah, there's a lot of learning to be done, but we do think we've got something here that we can tweak here and there to produce a very good package.
I mean, the players in the beginning, it's going to be natural. It doesn't matter who you are. You can be Nadal, Federer, Djokovic. In the beginning, when we go to them and we say, okay, we're going to have this team competition, or whatever format we have. Yes, they'll have a time period where they'll be able to focus on playing or let's say putting the format in their minds. But when you first go on the court and you play, yes, you'll freeze at certain times. Yes, you'll make mistakes and everything else. But after a while, you, as Mark said, that's how you start to learn. And you learn very quickly.
Yeah, I've personally been using it for 5 years now, and it's second nature. I wouldn't go back to playing traditional tennis, to be honest. It's so much more exciting. Yeah, I'm an old guy, best of 3 sets in 1 hour, fantastic. So I wouldn't go back now, to be honest, once I've changed. And you just get used to it. That's what you play. That's what tennis is now. You lose a service game in 2 points. Well, tough, that's it. Yeah, you move on. The other person serves. A game lasts 2 points. That's what happens. Yeah. You get used to it. It's just it's a phase change that you adapt to, basically. And I think
you just ask yourself.
The more you use it,
just ask. Whatever you do, you ask yourself a question. You're going to watch a guy who's going to probably have to decide in the final, let's say, the final game of an event where there may be $2 million at stake, and he's serving. There isn't going to be another point, right? So what do? Do you serve an ace? Do you serve here? Do you do this? Do you do that? And you do the other? And do you take into account that the guy on the other side, he's got to return the ball, otherwise he loses. So the intensity and the need to be able to create circumstances in the mind to be able to lift yourself at that particular point of time. That's the beauty. That's the beauty of combat. What can I do under those circumstances? And that'll be amazing. People will, you'll be holding your breath.
Yeah, that's really what you would call. Yeah, that's what you would call a really big point.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, well, we'll have to wrap up here, Vince. I think. We're running out of disk space if you recorded all of this.
Well, gentlemen, I thank you so much for your time. I know you're both busy trying to continue establishing 3030 Tennis, and thank you very much for taking the time out to join the program. And I wish you both and the sport, the new game of 3030, best of luck moving forward, and continue spreading the gospel of 3030.
Yeah, many
Thank you.
thanks, Vince. Much appreciated.
Okay.
Good conversation. Thank you.
Vince, before
Yes, yes, Mike.
are you recording now or are you off?
No, I'm still recording.
Can I go
Okay.
now, guys? Can I go now, guys? I
Yes,
have
yes.
to get back to something. Okay, I'll leave
Thank
you
you so
with Michael,
much.
Vince. But you'll send us an edit of this,
I will.
Vince, before you post it. Yeah, brilliant.
Yes,
So we can have a look at it. Yeah.
We got it done this time. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Speak later, Michael.
Okay.
Cheers, Vince. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
Bye.
Okay. Bye. Vince, I just
Yes,
wanted
Mike.
to say to you, if you're interested, maybe you want to do a program on the training so that you can focus it at the let's say at the coalface kind of thing. In other words, I could do short podcasts with you where I can give I take one facet of the training and explain, I mean, the skill, what you need, whether you play short game, long game, doesn't matter. So if that interests you, yes, you can, we can find a way to do that, because I think it's very necessary that kids, especially the young, I mean, the kids up to, let's say, 25 or 30,
Yes.
that are there. The older people can't do it. They can do the breathing techniques, but you gradually you would have to get them. You can get them involved. Yes, you can make it that the older people don't get tired so much. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, I can do a sort of like I don't know how we do it, whether we do it with a Q&A or I will explain you. I would explain to you something and then you'll ask a question and then I'll further explain.
Yeah, we can make it informal, free flowing. I can ask first,
yes. That's
or
right. That's it. That's
whichever you're more comfortable with. I can ask first and then you explain. Yeah, maybe we can go with that.
Yeah, you can say to me, I can send you. I mean, yeah, I think that would be the best. That would be the best way to do it, because there's no. How should I say? I mean, there's nothing new in the world. It's just how you take skills and integrate them. And Asia has it's all Asian, but they don't teach it, and they should teach it. They don't teach it.
Yes,
and
yes.
You have to make that you have to make it far more conscious that there are skills there that have to go on the tennis court, because tennis has got more martial arts in it than any other sport. And sports, the basis of all sports training is the martial arts and sciences. And even though the coaches do it, or when they're training, and they're not conscious of actually what they're doing. They're actually doing things correctly, but because they've got or they've done a certification course that tells them, well, you must just do this and not that. That's the problem.
Okay.
That's the issue. So you can just contact me.
Yeah, I will. Yes. And that's that will be for another episode, separate discussion. We can have.
Yeah. We can do it over. You can do it over. We can do say half an hour on. You can even pick one particular subject. We can take movement one time, then we have one program. Then you can have I don't know, hitting, breathing techniques, this technique, mental techniques. What do they need? What do they need to get? What is available? And then that will start it, because when we do the 30-30, that's where it's all this is going to come out, but it's going to take a while, but it'll do it.
Okay. Well, all right. Michael, I have about 33 minutes left before my laptop gives up on me.
Okay. Yeah, I'm also running. I'm also running down my my iPad is almost done. But very nice meeting you. And
Likewise.
yeah, you must. If you want us to, we can we'll update you as to what we're. What we do as we go forward, and then we can have a program.
Yeah.
Even the event.
If there's anything, if you have any press releases, anything you want to promote, let me know.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, anything that we can do to help you increase your viewership and give you something different. That's what we want to do.
Highly appreciate that. I would highly appreciate that. Thank you so much.
No, that's for sure. So whatever whatever we've got, we'll definitely contact you. I'll be in touch with you.
All right.
I've got a younger. We've got a guy in France who's going to start. He's going to go into eventually will go into the academies and the areas that are not traditionally covered, and get them doing 30-30 and the clubs. We've got a long way to go. When I say a long way, I mean the platform it goes right down to grassroots level. But once we start it, and we're in the process of doing it, it'll go quickly. And paddle at the moment, the people are coming at us far more than they are. We sort of like the tennis itself. We're going to have one big event, which is going to launch it, and then we'll tell you what that is and when it is and whatever. So
all
just
right.
feel free to contact.
Will do. Okay. And on that note, another episode of Sports for All has ended. Thank you, Michael, for joining us, and we look forward to working with you in other initiatives.
Okay, thank you very much for having me, and I look forward to more.
All right. Thank you, Michael, and stay safe.
Thank you. Same to you too.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.